How did you find out that the innocent kid isn't that innocent anymore? My best friend's son is 5 and 1/2 right now, and one day she walked into their living room to find him completely naked, standing at attention and sticking his little man parts into the couch cushion, then thrusting out, and then thrusting them back in. She asked him what he was doing, and he said, "This is how I relax sometimes." Apostrophe. He isn't allowed to relax like that anymore. Till I'm 5 and 1/2. When his dad told me he caught him jerking off at 8 o'clock, or at 8 years old, I'm confused and scared at the same time. Why would the time make a difference? The teacher found a BS reason to play the Hunger Games in class one day, and the innocent kid started telling me how much better he'd be at killing people than Katniss. I didn't feel comfortable sitting next to him ever again. Pulls out R15. Found him on a Gone Wild subreddit. Did you at least liked what you saw? Well, I'm a straight bloke, so not really, but it was a decent size, so fair play to him. My children are all virgins. So is my granddaughter. Took me a secretary NGL. I don't get it equals. Had a friend whom I thought was pretty innocent. Then I find out that her nickname for a mutual friend of ours was Dildo because he was small and thin with a somewhat large head. When she asked me to go take a shower so she could give me a rim job, you better have done it. Duh. Really caught me off guard though. I was the innocent kid. Someone just heard me swear, they kinda just seemed super shocked. Same, but I had the audacity to make a perverted joke. She started sporting a baby bump in the hallways. Someone please. What's a baby bump? The innocent girl at school got pregnant. A baby bump is what you call the visible shape of a baby in a woman's womb. Enlarged abdomen. I saw her swear on Facebook, and it was a huge shock to me, which made me laugh afterwards. I saw her brother a few years later and asked how she was, and he said she'd taken her own life. That was the real moment that this girl, who I'd only seen and known in person as a child, had made such a huge and irreversible choice. And if this shocked anyone reading, and it got dark real quick, that's how it felt for me as well. When I was 15, I was very sweet and trustworthy. I also had a dirty sense of humor that I only let loose around my friends. During the summer between 9th and 10th grade, I was a helper at the electrical shop at a local hospital. There were 3 electricians and me, and I would help them carry stuff, do some simple electrical things, sort the hardware in the BIS, etc. The electrical shop was part of the maintenance department, which also oversaw the plumbing shop, etc. The receptionist in the maintenance department was a beautiful young woman about 22 named Luan. And she, though I was a nice adorable little kid, I once was in the office and saw the head plumber bring a piece of paper in to show to Luan. The paper had 4 illustrations. When you unfolded it, you got to see the next illustration. The first illustration showed a guy with a box that was labeled inflatable homosexual test kit. Unfold. He opens the box and /unfold. Starts inflating by blowing into the valve and /unfold. The thing is inflated. It is a man, and he is inflating it by his penis. They both have a laugh, and I'm 4 feet away and saw the whole thing unfold. Cut to a week later. I'm walking down a hall and Luan stops me, and excitedly, she starts to tell me a joke. I apologize. This is racist, but this is how it happened. Close bracket. How do you tell the Polish person at the cockfight? I assumed she was telling me a dirty joke, so I answered with a dirty punk line. He's the one with his pants around his knees? She looked at me, utterly confused and not understanding at all, and said, "No, he's the one who brings the duck." I laugh politely. She continues, "How do you tell the Italian at the cockfight?" I don't know. He bets on the duck. Polite laugh. How do you tell the Mayfair is at the cockfight? The duck wins. We laugh. And I turn to walk away. Hey, what was the thing you said, having his pants around his knees? Well, you said it was a cockfight. I turned and walked away, knowing full well she hadn't seen this coming. And when I got to the end of the hall to turn left, I looked back to see if she was still there, and she was. Mouth open. Her image of me crushed. She didn't make eye contact with me again for the rest of the summer. Worth it. Me, I know you've been hanging out with some older kids. Have you ever smoked pot? 15-year-old. What would you do if I said yes? Found them in Craigslist, advert saying they're a bull willing to duck my wife. Specifically just your wife. Exclamation mark. Could have saved time and told you face to face. Literally sneaker fill. I'm trying to duck your wife, couldn't believe the cunt. She threatened to gauge my eye out with a pen. Still miss her. Hope she's okay. They started dating someone with a van that had reclining seats to boot. I think you should leave out the age. I had a friend that was such a sweetie. She moved away when she was 19. 3 years later an acquaintance tells me he found some pics of her online. She did 4 or 5 shoots for Playboy. That was a real eye opener. I doubt she got paid much for them. Cards Against Humanity is always a solid bet. I used to tutor this kid who was a couple of years younger than me when I was in middle school. He was a good kid. A couple of years later, when I was in high school, he sent me a message asking if I wanted to buy a game console off him, which I declined. A while later, he asks if I smoke and if I want some cigarettes. I don't. So I ignored him. I checked his Facebook profile and found out that he had gotten into the wrong crowd, doing drugs and shit. The kid was 13. When I saw something weird in my kid's mobile history, I didn't do anything. It's normal to watch porn at teenage. You are a good parent. I can't remember what my dad said, but all I remember was that he was pissed off I had paid for some of it, and that he would get me magazines if I was really interested in it. Now I think about it, and how I'm oddly comfortable sharing this. It seems odd how out of touch my dad was with the internet at the time. He worked in a bank for God's sake, and we had a computer. I had my own mobile phone, and yet he thought getting magazines was the best option. Oh boy, my mom has this red bell that says ring for sex, and I asked her what sex was. She didn't tell me, so I searched it up myself. Watched porn for a week straight, then realized I was asexual. That's kinda wholesome. I remember wanting to buy one ironically when I was maybe 13. They used to sell them in the store outside our building, but they closed down. I found him next to a corpse one day, didn't do anything about it. Just offered him a soda and a clean shirt. True bro. When she showed up pregnant to school, she was probably in the top 10 of our class. Super quiet, and surrounded herself with goody 2 shoes. She ducking owned it though, and if I'm not mistaken is doing pretty well for herself. Me. Lots of people seem to think that, since I don't swear very often, it must mean I'm too innocent to know any swear words. It's actually because I save them for when I really need them. It adds a lot more oomph to it, and is a surefire way to get people's attention. Same. I had a friend casually mention he was raped in the forest behind his house. Casually? Exclamation mark. I don't think rape is casual. There was one girl who I knew had mental issues for years, but I never knew she was quite as bad as she was. Knew she was kinda ducked up and wasn't exactly innocent. But I remember we were in the lunch queue one day and we were joking about something we'd been taught about safe sex in biology. Me being me, I joked about how I'd rather risk my virgin boyfriend having an STD and getting preggo than risk the embarrassment of buying condoms. To which she just replied that she got them before school at the Tesco's just down the road. I was kinda shocked because we were both 14 over 15 at the time, and my dad had always hammered it home that underage sex was literally only one step down from drug dealing and murder in his books. He's a butthole NGL, so her casualness was slightly shocking. I remember thinking, wow, I admire that at the time. She got kicked out a few months later for dealing weed. Still in contact with her. She's the only person other than my folks who I know who's had sex. And since we are quite close friends, stroke kindred spirits in the world of ducked up kids, she's kinda like my personal advisor on all the things my daddy wouldn't approve of. She's awesome. She asked me and my friend, how do you know if you're pregnant? When she started posting her pics online. Oh, I've actually fortunately never experienced this, but I swear it seems to be something an American school goes through once a year. I heard she masturbates with her Barbie. Wait, it's not normal? A boy who I had a special bond with between the ages of 8 and 17. He started posting pictures of himself on Facebook wearing MAGA gear and pointing guns at the camera and making middle fingers and stuff. He's 19 now. Sigh. I thought he'd turn out better. I really thought he had a chance to break the cycle, since his whole family is like that, but until recently he wasn't. He was such an innocent and kind-hearted kid, it makes me sad to see. Open bracket. I was the innocent kid. My teacher looked at the wrong homework folder and found my hentai collection. That of which I have been collecting for a couple years. From lolly, actual lolly, not child, to yandere, to futanary to harem, frontine to milf, to weird kinks I don't have, but thought was cool anyway. Oh yeah, I forgot my least favorite that I keep for no reason. Futanary little sister ducks Oni-chan. Did the internet never teach you about hidden files? I think we have a bigger problem if hidden files beats chicks with dicks. There was this innocent kid who was the shy, so basically he got bullied for 3 weeks straight by a group of snobberidge kids. Then the bastard started bullying me, then kid saw and snapped with rage. He beated the shit out of those guys. There were 5 and one brittle kid just destroyed them. We are now friends. She told me how hardcore yaoi and gay porn she's watching. TBH, I was pretty flabbergasted. He started venting. I pressed the emergency button and he was ejected. Among Us references are cool. When he started doing porn, he's really good at it too. I was that kid in school. I was raised super sheltered, but then I made some awesome friends who taught me what's what, and combined that with the internet and I picked up a hobby as a fanfic writer. Boy, some people's faces when they heard me swear for the first time alone was just priceless. I still get a kick out of it in my 30s. My daughter was probably 6 or so. She was very sensitive to graphic portrayals of violence on TV, so we, her parents, protected her from it as much as possible. Unfortunately, this one time I saw her watching a scene from some movie in which a man was pushing and shoving a woman. He was horrified and started screaming at the screen. Kick him in the balls. Kick him in the balls. I was one proud dad. This girl asked me about freaking cum socks. We are friends now, and she's fun. But WTF. I accidentally made a perverted joke, and my innocent friend realized before I did. I'm 15 at the moment, freshman high school. I don't know if he was always innocent, because I'm from a different state and just got here, but I found a kid who seemed like he had been sheltered his entire life, like he didn't know much about bad things like drugs and porn, like I did. But he did great in school and had that one friend group that's nice and stuff. I found out he wasn't that innocent when one day the school, like 1 month ago, the school was evacuated, and soon came to find out it was because someone brought a AR-15 to the school and had 200 rounds in his bag. It turned out to be the kid. I don't know his motivation, but I think it was bullying personally. We're still finding out little by little, but it's hard because the school is trying to get rid of it like it didn't happen. Glad we were friends at least. We ducked. Hey, we were both like 16 and now we're 24 and married. I called someone a slut and there it went Mayo. When he swore about forgetting his notebook in the auditorium. When she ducked me on her parents' couch. The good little Christian girl of our friend group had a more epic and storied history of masturbation than any of the guys. Girl was a straight horn dog. By looking in the mirror, I was the innocent kid. He got arrested for having child pornography when he was 17 years old. When I saw their social media, my friend, M, that I've known for at least 10 years now, dated another mutual friend, F, briefly at the beginning of college. Always saw him as an innocent, socially awkward geek type of person. But I recently found out from her that they actually weren't so innocent. Not all the way, but still more than I expected them to have done. They understood a dirty joke. when I saw the special ed kid last year jump on a girl's back and start rubbing himself, and he nutted on her back. He did this in front of the bus lane, so we all saw it, and he was just smiling and laughing. It was the last time we did coke in Vegas. It was different, you know. There were no fun memories from that trip, and we didn't sleep a wink. It was at the end of another 8-ball and another night. We had just finished the last of the vacuum sales when we decided to have a little company in our hotel room. We called down to the desk and told the clerk to send up some entertainment. He pretended not to know what I was talking about until I told him the kid's name. It was all apologies after that. No more than a few moments later there was a knock at the door. I looked through the peephole to see a short chubby gal wearing some too tight dress, long black hair with far too much foundation on. This must be the entertainment for the evening. Better than nothing, I guess, I thought as I opened the door. "Hello," I said to her as she barged into the room. "Hey, I'm Candy. Who am I doing tonight? If it's just you, regular rates. If it's the kid, it's double." At this point we were in the bedroom. I looked the kid in his eyes, and he looked back at me and nodded. Both of us. All the way. "And don't skip on the fixins. And don't worry about payment," I said as I pointed to the large bag of money in the corner of the room. By this time, the kid and Candy had started on the second 8-ball of the day, and that's when things got out of hand. I didn't hear what was said to her, but Candy stood up and yelled, "What the duck did you just say to me?" Before I could react, the kid threw that rest of our coke into her face before pouncing on her. There was a bit of a struggle while he tried to get a good grip on her, her arms flailing wildly as his tiny hands find her neck and squeeze as tightly as they could, never flinching as her arms start to hit and punch him. It was not long after Candy slumped into a pile of herself, with the kid riding her to the floor still clenching her neck. He then looked up at me, our eyes connecting for a brief second. But in that time I could feel the cold void reaching out for me, the hollow heart of a soul with nothing but hate to live for, crying out in pain. The kid softly said, "You might want to leave for this part," as he started to unbutton her dress. That was the last time I saw him. Probably for good reason. I've made peace with it after some therapy session, but I'll never forget the day I watch innocents die. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.